here with the pop star Allie X. This year, she released her second studio album, Cape God, after being in the industry for a few years, having a versatile discography with songs you've probably heard. Hi, Allie. It's so nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining.
Nice to see you too. Thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit, how has quarantine been for you?
Well, in the beginning, I guess I was upset. I was feeling sad. I was feeling upset. I was feeling really anxious. I was like, my album just came out. I can't promote it properly. My tour is canceled. How am I going to make money? Like, nothing live is happening. But then, I'd say around 3 weeks into it, I started to like really settle into it, and I've just been embracing it. It's the first time in so many years that I've had time to do stuff and not just be a slave to my schedule. So I've started a lot of new creative like ventures. I haven't been writing music too much, to be honest, but I've been getting a lot of little melodies and lyrics. I've been writing them down. I've been like doing little renovations on my house, spending so much time with my dog, and in general, just being calmer and less overwhelmed. So for me personally, it's actually been really nice.
So let's get into your life, how you started with music. So what made you even start being a musician?
I just always wanted to do it. I can't remember a time where I didn't want to be a singer. I didn't always know that I wanted to be a writer, but I was always writing little ideas, and then I got into it seriously when I was in college. But yeah, I mean, I never really considered doing anything else. I've never been super good at anything else. So yeah, it's always been my dream.
Mm-hmm. You moved from Canada to LA without money, without friends. You're relocating with a goal to achieve your dream to be a successful singer. And LA is like the best place, I think, to go and to look for opportunities and stuff and to evolve in the industry.
Yeah, it's the center of the film industry and of the commercial music industry for sure.
Yeah. So when you arrive, what thoughts are going through your mind?
I was thinking I'm gonna work really, really hard. I remember thinking like I'm gonna outwork everyone. That's something that I've always been good at, is just like putting in the time and the hours. I remember being really uncomfortable around the people I was living with, but having to sort of like pretend that I was okay and that I was like comfortable. I remember thinking, oh my God, they're going to figure out that I don't know what I'm doing, which is the thing that I think that a lot of musicians think. Yeah, and just being really, really ambitious. Like, this is my shot. I gotta do this.
And was there any regret? I mean, it's going alone. It's a huge place with a lot of people going around. I think it can be even terrifying. So did you have any fear in your mind?
Yeah, I was scared. I was scared that I was gonna run out of money. I was scared I was gonna get sent back to Toronto before I had a visa. I was scared of failing. I was scared of like blowing my one shot. I was scared of like people finding out too much about me. I remember. I don't know. Yeah, I was totally nervous.
Yeah.
I remember I lost a bunch of weight that summer because I wasn't eating. I was like always on the edge.
Wow. Yeah. But the good side, we can say, one of your successful songs that you've written was Bitch. You've released it in 2015. You wrote it.
Yeah, I wrote that when I first moved to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And
so
I
you
never
wrote it,
expected
you
it to be
produced
so
it.
successful.
Yeah. and a few years later, not really predictably, it like blew up on social media,
Yeah. Do you guys
TikTok.
know that song in Israel?
Yeah, I mean, I knew it from an edit in Instagram. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it's
how I,
there's been a lot of edits on TikTok with it. And I think a lot of people know that song from TikTok without actually knowing like me as an artist, which is interesting. Um, yeah.
yeah. So how was it? I mean, how did that make you feel? Because when things like that blow up, it's like, it's amazing. But do the people that hear the song, they really get to know you as an artist? So this is really an interesting question
Yeah.
to think about.
Yeah, I don't really know the answer. I mean, I see that it Shazams a lot. Like this, all the data behind Bitch is really strong, which is interesting. And a lot of time, if I'm opening for someone on a tour, I
Mhm.
always open with that with Bitch. It's like a really great opener, and a room full of people that don't necessarily know who I am because I'm the opening artist. They know that song, a lot of them. So it's cool.
Well,
Um,
yeah, yeah, I
I hope
agree.
that people connect it back to me and everything else that I do at some point. But if they don't, like, it's still cool.
Yeah. No, I really, I think this song is really a banger. I love it. You've said that since being a child at school, you started dressing different. And that's something that we really can see in your persona as an artist. So these crazy or maybe awkward to some people, these, this crazy looks, is that some type of shield for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think I never, I was never considered like conventionally attractive, and like boys, like straight boys, never liked me. So I think for me, it was empowering to be purposefully different looking, um, and it still is because
Mhm.
I now when I used to look at girls in school and think oh, I wish I looked like that. I wish I had that body. Wish I was like sexy and tanned and like whatever, and I used to feel like I was so lacking. And I think when I changed how I presented myself, now I look on Instagram at these beautiful influencer model girls and I think that's cool, that's their thing. I do something different and I'm really strong in what I do and in what I present. And yeah, so I think I took back like some power by presenting myself in a certain way. To this day, I still feel that way.
So you feel like that's some type of rebel, like saying, no, I'll do something else. I won't be like the mainstream pop stars. I'll go weirder and stranger,
Yeah,
maybe.
I think it's just about finding your identity and feeling good about it. To generalize in music and in the way you dress and in the way you do your makeup, the way you cut your hair, the way that you speak, um, all those things.
Yeah. And does it make things harder sometimes to succeed in the industry?
Uh, Probably. I don't know that I have another choice though. I just it's me, so
Yeah.
and I do feel like it attracts people that really. I feel like it attracts like cooler fans, doing things this way.
So about your authentic style, I think we can see, I mean, a lot of different elements such as gothic style, emo mixed with pop culture elements. Do you have any artists that you've taken inspiration from?
Yeah, so many. I mean, it's pretty vast. I'll name a few. I grew up with like Tori Amos, and I feel like she has always been a role model in terms of I don't know, rawness, strength, feminism, boldness, even visually. And then I love like Bjork. I love the films of Stanley Kubrick. I love the author Haruki Murakami. Um, yeah, there's a lot, but in general, these days I feel really inspired by just really strong, bold women. PJ Harvey, Angel Olsen. Like, I mean, there's so many.
Yeah. So you're taking a lot of inspiration from other artists, but what do you think that makes you unique from the others?
I don't know. I think everyone's unique, you know. I think everyone is there's only one of you, so
Yeah.
I don't really think of it in terms of like I guess I need to look at myself from like in a marketing kind of way, like what makes me different and like what will make people want to pay to see my shows and pay to listen to my albums. And I don't know, I guess in that sense, like I think the people that like invest in me, they think that it's a good investment because I'm doing something that has it has a strong um, pop sensibility, and pop can go so far, like it can go very far. But I do it in a way that's pretty honest and dark sometimes. I guess that's what I would say makes me different. But there's a lot of other people doing the
Yeah.
same thing just in different ways.
Yeah. And I guess a lot of people have compared you to Billie because I mean, she's
Really?
doing, aren't they? I mean, it's not like,
I don't know.
I
I haven't
mean,
heard that. I'm flattered to hear that. I'm like I could be like Billy's mom. She's so young, but that's
yeah, I know.
cool.
But the thing is that like it was your style from the beginning. So it's like I looked at both of yours discography, and it's not like you've really taken inspiration from her because it was you from the beginning. Um,
Yeah, and I think like Billie Eilish, she's really her and her brother have really come up with something that is it feels really fresh. It's very understated. The way she sings is so different than what we've heard in so many years. It's
mhm.
very it's so intimate and it's so quiet. I definitely don't sing in that way, but I'm really inspired by that. But yeah, I guess in certain, I guess the comparison could be that yeah, like what I just said, like that it's pop but it's dark.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I'm flattered. I didn't know that people were saying that.
Hmm. So yeah, you were doing pop, darker pop, very versatile discography. And this year, as I said before in the start of the interview, you released this year in February Cape God, which is the second studio album. And it talks about, I mean, generally it talks about mental and physical health, and alongside different experiences of yours as a teenager. Though it's from what I've heard, I mean, it's kind of different from the other albums or music projects. So what caused the change, the major change between the albums?
Um, I can only really guess at what caused the change. I think overall, I'm an artist that believes in evolution, and I believe that I'll be a product of my influences as I make music, and my influences change every year, every month, you know. So I think by the time I got to writing Cape God, I was interested in exploring other sounds. I was interested in not having obvious pop hooks. I was listening to like a lot of goth music. Um, but honestly, the whole thing wasn't super intentional. It just sort of happened I was on a writing trip to Stockholm, and I was writing with two new writers, a new writer and a new producer, and this sound just sort of emerged. We did Fresh Laundry first, and I was just like, this feels really right, feels really fresh. Let's keep exploring this.
Yeah.
I think conceptually and in terms of communication, it's the most like honest and direct account of my story. It's the most personal. And I think that's a product of me just becoming more comfortable with revealing myself and being vulnerable publicly.
Yeah. And when people, teenagers around the world, listen to this record, what do you want them to feel?
You know, I made this record for my teenage self because she didn't get to tell her story because she was too scared and embarrassed. And so I think the same thing for teenagers around the world that may be listening to this. Like if they are going through a time where they feel completely isolated, completely detached, unsure of how the future will go down, I just kind of wanted to be like, hey, I'm a message from your future, and like things are going to be okay. You know, it's going to get easier. And one day you'll be able to talk about your issues and your struggles in a way where you feel empowered and comfortable, which if someone had told me that, it would have been hard to believe. Yeah.
Who would you like to collaborate with? I mean, I know you have on the album Love Me Wrong, for example, with Troy Sivan, which is an amazing song, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
So any ideas for people you'd like to collaborate with?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people that I'd like to collaborate with. I'm less interested these days in collaborating with all the people that my fans want me to collaborate with, which are like my contemporary like pop female singers, even though I respect all of them. I'd be like really dead if I collaborated with like Tori Amos, like I mentioned earlier, or like Tom York, or like Leslie Feist. You probably don't know her. She's a Canadian singer. Really, really respect her. That'd be cool. I don't know. I'd love to. I'd love to be in a Studio Ghibli film in some way. I also really love Kate Bush. I would love to. I don't know. These days, I just feel so inspired by those female singers from the past that really like paved the way for singers like me, and they've been giving me sort of like strength and inspiration. So that's kind of who I would want to collaborate with right now.
Yeah. And I think that's amazing because you don't want necessarily to collaborate with the most, I mean, popular or hottest singers this moment. I mean, you really go with what you believe in. And I think that that's something that every artist should have, this honesty with himself, first of all.
Yeah, in general, I think I'm just really fed up of trying to be of the moment and obsessing with someone that is super popular in one moment. It sort of like saddens me. And so I think I'm attracted to those artists that ignored that and are still ignoring that and have always made music the way that they wanted to, not necessarily just following a trend or trying to be on the radio or whatever. And you know, like I'm not super young. I think it as I get older and I become like a true like woman and adult, I've just been thinking to myself like, where do I want to be in 10 years? What do I want to represent? And I think I'd rather have albums that I feel so proud of but not be on the radio than have one stupid song that was a huge hit on the radio and I wasn't that proud of it. And I'd rather have a real connection with the people that listen to my music than just be huge for a year and then kind of fade away. Not to say that that has to happen if you are on the radio or you have a huge hit, but I don't know. I've just been sort of questioning like where I belong in the music industry, and I've kind of come to terms with the idea that I may never be a huge successful artist, and that's okay. Like maybe in some ways it's better. It's like a happier existence. And so back to what you were saying, who I'd want to collaborate with, I feel drawn and inspired to like women that sort of feel the same way.
And about what you said about getting older, does that scare you in some type of way, getting older, in the industry in general?
Yeah, it does. I wish it didn't, but I'd be blind and deaf if it didn't, because this industry, for women especially, it's way less for men, really favors the youth. And I mean, culture in general just really favors youth. It's like, I was listening to Sapiens, you know, it's actually by an Israeli philosopher, Yuval, maybe Yuval something Harris or something. I gotta find his name, 1 second. Yuval Noah Harari. He's an Israeli historian. And
I'm not sure, but
okay.
So yeah.
And he wrote a very well-known book named Sapiens, and it's about humans before we even became humans, and just sort of evolution and how and certain like patterns that we've always had and certain things that have changed, and is really fascinating. And anyway, he's speaking about how in ancient times the elders in any community would be actually the ones to raise the children, because they would have all the life experience and wisdom and knowledge. And it's not really like that nowadays. I think senior citizens are very undervalued and sort of cast aside and not taken seriously. And I feel like just with women especially, there's a real pressure to have children by a certain age, and to have made a decision with your career by a certain age, and to remain attractive, and you know, and so yeah, I feel that, and I feel it especially strongly in this industry. And I hope by speaking about it, which I've started to do, that it can be like a bit of a force for change, because it's not fair to young women. It's not fair to women in their 30s like me, and it's not fair to the women that are in their 40s and 50s that are just ignored because they're too old. Like it's just not fair. So
no,
I'm rambling, but yeah, I think it's a real pressure. It's sad.
It is sad. I mean, well, of course I can only imagine, but it is sad, and I wish things were different. I think you're doing a lot to change, and to fight for a change as an artist, and the things you are standing for. And actually, the last question I like to sum up my interviews with is, where do you aspire to be in the next years? And you've already said that you want to continue, of course, being an artist, and standing for what you believe in, and not necessarily sticking to what the industry wants you to be. So
I think it's a good question, especially because this pandemic has forced the whole world to sort of stop and reflect, I think, on what they want and where they want to be going. And I don't know exactly ever what I want my future to be, but I do have certain inclinations, and I'll speak to those. I want to be empowered and independent, even more so than I am now. I want to be working only with people that I have good relationships with, and we help each other, and we have compassion for each other. I feel like there's a lot of there's not a lot of compassion in this industry, so I'm always striving to make my team truly friendly and compassionate with each other, which is difficult. Even though I've worked with a lot of great people. I hope to be financially comfortable, which I am at the moment. I hope for even more of that, which is because that's always a fear when you're in entertainment. I hope to have more dogs. I have one dog right now. I hope to have a house that's not just in Los Angeles. I like it here, but I'd like to be able to leave sometimes. I hope to have more music that I'm proud of. And I actually hope to have diversified my business so that I'm involved in other creative endeavors outside of just being a writer and being a singer. I think that, through running a business, which is essentially what I'm doing, I've kind of learned that I have this like entrepreneurial side to me, and I'm really eager to explore that and where else it can take me, and to learn new skills. I've been learning a lot of new skills in the quarantine, just
Like
simple
what?
things like Premiere Pro, for instance, or
Oh, same.
and I've been learning. I'm working on a podcast, so I've been learning about how to do that. I've been doing like home renovation stuff, which I don't know why, but it's so fulfilling, like to learn about I like drywall and electrical and like sanding and woodwork, and I love it. So I don't know. It's having this time to try new things has just made me really realize that like there's so much that I can do in my life, even though I'm good at music. Like I really want to learn other things as well, and I want to help people. I want to help people. So that's my little rant about the future.
Yeah. Well, you're amazing, and thank you so much.
Thank you again. Have a great rest of your day or night, whatever time it is
Night,
there.
night.
Night. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.